Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is an incredible indie-developed RPG that blew this reviewer away. Not only are the graphics stunning along with the atmospheres, but the gameplay revitalized the turn-based combat system. My name is The Dove, and I am here to talk to you about what feels like an instant classic, Clair Obscur Expedition 33, the first title by Sandfall Interactive. This title sunk its hooks into me early, with the way the story didn't dwell too long or force you to read a novel's worth of explanation to understand the mechanics. Don't get me wrong, it has a tutorial mixed with the prologue, but the pace for this part is very brisk. It's not just the cinematic sequences that are graphically brilliant either. Each individual character, enemy, atmosphere, level are all meticulously crafted. The story is something you're not going to see every single day in video games, and for me, it not only just stands out in that regard, but interweaves a lot of really thoughtful character arcs while never lingering too long to make you want to fast forward. And the cast top to bottom brings the game to life. I am a longtime Daredevil fan, and I was psyched to see Charlie Cox in this. But it's not just him who brings a stellar performance. The great story was brought to life by some truly amazing acting. And at the end of the day, the way this title mixes the dodge and block systems with the turn-based attack and adds just a dash of quick-time event is just the right mix to refresh the old format of turn-based combat. I enjoyed it a lot as it forced me to always stay on my toes, even while I was planning my next few attacks. This is Sandfall Interactive's first title, and the entire team includes just around 30 people. Their goal was to show indie-developed games can deliver outstanding production value. I think this smaller development team out of France absolutely nailed their first title. Not only did they write a good story, code a good game, and get some great developers working on it, but they put in the time to find some great actors and actresses to bring their creation to a whole nother level. This game is gorgeous, and the art style they use is called Belle Epoque. For non-history buffs like myself, that's right around turn of the century France, right up to the First World War. The atmosphere feels like something out of an alternate history sci-fi. If I had to pick one thing to relate it to, it feels just a little bit, at least with some of the aesthetics and clothing, like a cousin to steampunk. The way the art is showcased in all the different levels is pretty impressive. And those levels are very detailed and just absolutely breathtaking. There's no map or compass, so you might get lost in some of these levels, and it's actually not all that bad as you get to either discover new items or just take in some beautiful level design. Now, the game's story features a paintress who continually paints and counts down numbers each year, as people from that age range disappear at the end of a given year. If you're a sci-fi nerd like myself, you might remember the movie Logan's Run. It's a bit like that, but with a more varied approach to the date. Although the subject matter is dark here, it never lingers in that depressing atmosphere for too long. Much like the rest of the game, it knows itself and keeps things moving along. As mentioned, Clair Obscur uses a turn-based system, but injects some real-time parry and dodge mechanics. The game also comes with a bonus attack that feels kind of like a quick-time event. If you time things right after a special or normal attack, you can add more power to it or give yourself more HP on a healing spell. The actual combat is something different, at least for this gamer. As long as they're not staggered or have some effect over them, on any character's turn, they can use an item or attack the enemy without any regard to the action points. There are a few different ways to gain action points during combat along with a successful attack. You can parry or get a perfect dodge or any number of things as long as you have the proper relic, or in the case of Clair Obscur, Lumina. With enough action points, you can use one of many special attacks each character has and learns throughout the game. You can also use each action point to take one shot against an enemy with your gun. So if you have 5 action points, you can take 5 shots at them and then use your basic attack. Now, outside of combat, the game encourages exploration, but the transversal controls are basic. Moving around could be finicky at times, but it isn't the main feature of the game and therefore never completely detracted from the experience. As mentioned throughout this video, the parry and dodge timing throws the turn-based combat system for a loop. With the variety of enemies and a game that keeps the pace going, it's hard to nail down every enemy's exact timing for your defense. To put it simply, parrying is challenging in Clair Obscur Expedition 33. With all the enemies and the small windows for response, it will challenge some of the best gamers. The dodge mechanic is a lot more forgiving, and thus what I recommend for the majority of gamers if you pick this one up and are having a little trouble. With the right equipment and the exact right build, you might be able to slog through this game without dodging or parrying all that much, but there will be a couple bosses especially that'll test even the strongest builds in this game. If you can't counter or dodge, you might have to really dig deep in your builds. Enemy encounters are triggered by walking near enemies in open areas. It feels like a 3D version of the classic RPGs. Heals are linked to potions that you carry around like flasks, and you refill those anytime you get a rest. To rest, you can either find a former expedition's flag or venture to one of the open areas of the map and set up your camp. There are so many things I want to highlight in this game, but if I were to make an elevator pitch of why I think people should play this game, it's a graphically brilliant and well-acted title that changes up the genre and mixes the new age with the old. Overall, there's just so many things in this game that I'm completely impressed with. And if I had to honestly choose just one thing, it would be hard for me with the great acting, amazing atmosphere, and the revitalized turn-based combat gameplay. But if I had to be honest, the reason I'll come back to this game time after time is because of the pacing. I've said it before and I'll keep saying it throughout this video. The pacing just never lets things get stale. Whether it's some heartfelt moment or some action sequence or even a difficult boss battle, it feels like you can always either get past it or just as you're about to become bored with the situation or story, they just wrap things up quickly and move along.
Luckily, I met a gestural who guided me here. What about you?
Well, I woke up next to a waterfall and...
We can talk later. Let's get back to Golga.
No time to lose.
And that translates to pretty much all aspects of the game. It feels like you're always learning something new or some new mechanic is being shown throughout the game. So again, things just never feel like they have time to even get boring. Now there's plenty of exploration in this title with hidden bosses around some corners and helpful items scattered throughout each level. But if you just want to stick to the main story, you'll still be rewarded with a good amount of items from taking down some of the harder enemies. But of course, just like in all the best games in the genre, if you're able to find and defeat some of the optional bosses, you'll be rewarded with some even better loot. The immersion in this game is some of the best. It doesn't really break from it outside of a couple tiny little graphical flickers here and there. The acting is incredibly good. The story is interesting and it never lingers where it makes you want to reach for your phone or go do something else. It always keeps things moving and has a great pace about it. The music in this game fits right in with an RPG setting as well, with that looping orchestral or cinematic type feel during battle sequences. There's a couple French-inspired songs as well, but for the most part, if you've played any RPGs, this will just feel like a very professionally done variation of the genre's style. I can't stress enough that this is some of the best voice acting I've experienced in gaming. It was so heartfelt and always so genuine.
No, we have a mission!
Oh, fuck the mission! Fuck the mission, Lune! What are we gonna do, huh? Tell me. What are we gonna do? We're gonna take down the paintress, just the three of us? My gun and your sparks?
I didn't take you for a coward.
I'm not a coward.
You swore the oath. When one falls, we continue.
Yes, I know.
When one falls. When one falls. Not if. When.
The mocap was solid and felt realistic, minus one throw by Charlie Cox. Man, I hope that isn't how he throws in real life. Anyway, as mentioned, the plot is interesting and well done, and the characters are well developed without getting too bogged down by multiple story arcs. The pace in this game just keeps everything moving and retains your interest throughout. My only criticism of the title is that they made the face of Charlie Cox's character Robert Pattinson. They took the time to motion cap Charlie Cox's movement and facial expressions and voice, and then carefully took more time to dub Robert Pattinson's face over it, and I just have no idea why they would do that. Outside of that idiotic point, the game is nearly perfect. Besides having to move along some dialogue outside of cinematic sequences, which to be honest is a real minor criticism, the game is just really well crafted. It's instantly one of my favorite games in the genre. Clair Obscur sets itself apart because it does a great job of all the major facets of a game. Gameplay, combat, setting, atmosphere. The mocap is amazing, voice acting is great, and the story you don't see all too often and is very well written. It's unique, well crafted, beautiful, and doesn't outstay its welcome in almost every aspect of the game. And there's plenty of replayability here. There are so many paths to explore, and with no real map that you use, you're probably going to want to go back and check out some of the things you may have missed in your second playthrough. There's also the addition of New Game Plus mode, a fantastic feature when you really love an RPG, because you can go back and just get a little bit of that power fantasy along with enjoying that great game that you loved in the first place. If you stick to the base game, you'll be challenged. But as long as you're paying attention to the different mechanics they introduce throughout the game, you'll be able to get past some of the most difficult bosses. If you're trying to go to some optional bosses, especially early on, you will be tested. Their attacks are deadly and can pretty much wipe you out with one swipe. And unless you have a really good build early on, some of those fights could be true slogs. With both the gameplay settings and the routes you choose, Clair Obscur leaves it up to the gamer when it comes to challenge. Now, I should note, this game isn't completely open world. I would lean towards more of an open level type game. The title definitely encourages exploration, however, and without a map, it makes things feel genuinely more unique, or rather more special when you find something. It's also a nice system because when you're lost, you get rewarded by finding some cool items or upgrades. Kind of a win-win for morons like myself. This is a game many RPG fans will enjoy, and while that's a very broad genre these days, if you enjoy the old-fashioned turn-based combat of something like Final Fantasy or Chrono Trigger, then you might really enjoy this one. The combat's unique to those genres, adding that parry and dodge system, and while early on you might be hesitant, it adds that extra dimension to combat you want. If you have a chance to check out Clair Obscur Expedition 33, check it out. It's available on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, and PC. Thanks for watching. Feel free to leave a comment or hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. And if you haven't subscribed yet, consider clicking the subscribe button now. We have more videos like this and have a weekly gamer news podcast called The Gamer Buff with all the latest gaming news. Thanks again for watching. Until next time, this is the Dove.
No, I don't. I'm sorry. I thought that you... On the beach, I saw you and I couldn't, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I should have,